Wonderful sponsors. I don't know if you just saw the news, but average U.S. household debt just hit $152,000. That's mortgages, cars, cards, student loans, but the national debt just hit $37 trillion. It's all going up. Ask yourself this: when the system hiccups, who bails you out? It's not the Fed, not the politicians, and that's why I own gold. Gold doesn't need a CEO, doesn't need missed earnings, it doesn't freeze your account on a Friday at 4:59. While they print, gold just sits there doing what it's done for thousands of years. Store value. If you're done playing musical chairs with your savings, get something real in your hand. That's why you should try our good friends Kirk Elliott Precious Metals today. Goldwithjustin.com. Kirk and the team going to walk you through what they're doing, whether you're a seasoned pro when it comes to buying precious metals or you're just getting started. Call Kirk and the team today at 720-605-3900. That's 720-605-3900, or go to goldwithjustin.com to find out how they can help you today. No pressure, just facts and a plan. That's goldwithjustin.com. Protect what's yours with gold. Goldwithjustin.com. Do it today. When the grocery shelves go empty, you're out of time. That's the truth. Disasters hit fast. Storms, blackouts, supply chain chaos, and the first thing to vanish is food. That's why Smart America...
Live from high atop Monroe Center in downtown Grand Rapids, we're talking about what matters most to you in West Michigan. Join the conversation now at 616-774-2424. That's 616-774-2424. It's West Michigan Live with Justin Barkley on Wood Radio.
Yeah, what a beautiful start to the day. A little cooler, but the sun is shining, and, well, at least we'll take that. What about the Memorial Day forecast over the weekend? We'll have the latest so you can stay up to date and plan accordingly. Speaking of plans, we have plans to talk to our good friend James Dixon today. He'll be in to talk about some of the things happening right here in our own backyard at the state and beyond. And we'll get into some of the biggest stories. In fact, we're watching 2026 play out right before our very eyes. A big night last night for primaries, several of them, and a big night for Trump.
We're talking about news, weather, and traffic. And the biggest stories of the day. We're talking about what matters most in West Michigan and beyond. This is the Big Three. Now today's Big Three.
The stories that matter most, you'll be talking about these. One, a water cooler at the dinner table, no matter where you are, powered by our good friends at Heartland Home Mortgage. Dave Galloway and the team ready to help you right now, whether you want to refinance, home equity line of credit. You know, lots of people are maybe trying to take some time right now, especially as bills pile up. If you've got a little home equity, you can pay off some of this credit card debt, some of the high interest stuff that's causing a pinch in your budget, and he can help you with that right now. We got a team ready to walk with you through it. HHMlending.com. Big night last night for President Trump across primaries in 6 states. His endorsed challenger, Navy veteran Ed Gowrain, ousted Libertarian Representative Thomas Massie in the Kentucky's 4th District. Kind of a rout, 54, almost 55% to 45%, a high-profile win. The most expensive House primary on record, but there were others as well. In fact, another one right there inside of Kentucky, Andy Barr, president's pick for Senate, is going to be moving on. In fact, got a shot actually to be the senator, next senator from Kentucky.
Number 2.
We'll talk about what happened in a few of these other races, and specifically what happened last night and why it matters so much, and what's going to happen here moving forward in the split between Massie, Trump, and of course some of the folks in both camps. Trump issuing statement there endorsing, speaking of endorsements for a race coming up in the coming weeks, Ken Paxton, the attorney general in Texas, against the Rhino Senator John Cornyn. Ken, a true MAGA warrior, Trump said, who always delivered for Texas. Trump posting on social media the runoff again. I think next Tuesday is what we're shooting for.
Number 3.
Speaking of shooting in Grand Rapids, they've shot some numbers across the desk here. Grand Rapids approving over $750 million for the budget, $786 million. The city commission passing this. And you can just imagine what's inside that thing. Focus on their sustaining police and fire. Hope they're going to hire more, especially with all the events we have going on down here. I would love to see more of an effort to support those folks and make the city safe. Essential services, assets, amid federal funding slowdown with inflation as well. Personnel costs, they say driving increasing. Some deficit carryover impacts working families. You're going to see more in your taxes, fees, and city services, I'm sure, at some point. No matter what they say, they got to figure out a way to pay for all of this. That's, you can do a budget all day long. I mean, where's this money going to come from? That's just sort of that. We'll dig into these stories and more. And like I said, our good friend James Dixon joining us coming up about 9:35. He's down I-75 over on Twitter X with the latest in these big moves. Plus, we'll talk Michigan primaries and the big race for governor here in the coming months.
Call Justin now at 616-774-2424. That's 616-774-2424. West Michigan Live with Justin Barclay on News Radio Wood 1300 and 106.9 FM.
So Massie lost last night. Andy Barr won in Kentucky. He's the Senate pick from President Trump. And there were another couple of Trump wins last night as well. The thing that people are maybe trying to understand or wrap their minds around is, how did this happen? And I'll tell you, I'm a guy, I like Thomas Massie. I've always liked Massie, but it seems like there's been a rift. There's been a bit of a shift, particularly in the relationship. Look, they were never like best friends or anything. Of course, I don't mean that. Trump and Massie, they never somebody that they didn't go out to the dinner together or anything like that. But what I will say is Massie had a bit of a Justin Amash turn. And you probably understand this more than anybody else if you're listening to me, because your chances are, I know a lot of people listen on the iHeartRadio app, and people stream us all over the country and beyond, but mostly here in Michigan's 3rd Congressional District, where Justin Amash, served, and then eventually Peter Meyer. I understand that this take isn't going to be popular among people who are all in for Massie right now, but you can't cross Trump. You cannot cross Trump and then expect to survive. The movement, it is, yes, it's made up of all of us. It's made up of voices like Thomas Massie, who, again, I like. I think he has served well, but there have been times when he has really gone off the radar, off the reservation, so to speak. And particularly in the eyes of people like President Trump. And the biggest is probably the one big, beautiful bill. There are also, from what I understand, people that I've talked to inside the halls of the House there that understand there were also votes that hurt Republicans that he sided with Democrats on when it came to rules inside the House. There are some other things that are floating around out there, and we can get into what may have shifted and what may have changed in his personal life. And I'm not going to go into all of that, whether it's losing a spouse, getting remarried, the massive things that can happen to you through those experiences, or some of the other rumors and things that have been reported lately. I'm not going to get into all that. I just, you need to understand, and I'll boil it down. This is the best way I can explain it to you. The time for playing these little games of I'm going to, and the best way I can put this is I'm going to, you'll see what I'm saying here, because there are going to be people that say this is you're just you. So now we can't have principles. You have to understand this, and I have to be as clear as possible. The Democrat Party, the leftist, the people that have been in power in this country for years are trying to destroy it from the inside out. We are in right now a color revolution. There are people that are falling for the propaganda, and I'm watching it happen from a 30,000-foot view. Now, whether Massie was one of those people, and like I said, I like the guy, or he was more directly involved with it, I don't know. But it is happening. And we have to get it. Because if we don't, we lose the country. A lot of talk about foreign money. People don't want to talk about some places this foreign money comes from. They'll talk about one country they think it comes from. But at the end of the day, I don't care how much was spent, and a lot of money was spent in Kentucky. $30, $40 million, depending on who you ask. When you talk about this money coming in, you have to realize last night, Kentucky voters voted. Voters in Kentucky made the decision, not people in other countries. Massie's not the guy who, at the end of the day, I'm sorry, but he's just not the guy they felt was going to defend them, to represent them. And some people say, what about this new guy, Ed? Well, I don't know. I can't tell you much about him. I don't think many people can tell you much. He's Navy SEAL and, seems like, well, he's Trump's pick. That's the thing that moved the needle. People don't care as much about what some of these people say or do in these little fights as they do about the big fight. There is a split. We're going to talk about this over the coming days. We'll try and dissect it between, I think, the demographics in these voters and where they fall and why they fall in certain ways. I think that's going to be important. This is going to be a race to follow. But in the meantime, what the media is telling you is absolutely false and has been telling. Trump's not in. He's lost his swagger. People don't like. No, there are echo chambers filled with people who are being told certain things over and over again, and some of them are falling for it even in Congress. Now, Massie's going to be fine. He's going to go on. He'll start his own podcast. He'll do a PAC. He'll be a big star for the people in those echo chambers. I'm not saying they don't matter, but they didn't last night. I'm not saying they won't matter in 26 or 28, but they didn't last night. Tucker Carlson is not winning people elections. Candace Owens is not winning people elections. I don't know that any of us talking heads win elections. What I see is that we get on air or on a podcast or on a stream and we say the things that we see. And the audience either agrees or doesn't agree. And if they agree, then they push the show, they push the podcast, they push it further and further out. Some of them are watching from foreign countries. Some of them are not watching from Kentucky, obviously. So whether you agree with what I say or not, I can't control that. I can't tell you what to think. There are people who think that that's kind of how this works, but it's not. President Trump doesn't tell people what to think either. He just so happens to say the things that other people are thinking. That's the goal here, is to also do that as well. I have to be honest with you at times. Today is not an easy show for me because I like Massie and I like Trump. But more than anything else, I love my country. And I see what's happening. And it's insidious. And I will tell you the reason why it's happening. We have to do a deeper dive on this in the coming days.
The reason it's happening is because Trump was successful in 2024. Remember, the guy was never supposed to be here. He's not even supposed to be alive at this point. Run it through that filter. All these things that you're watching play out, because I think a lot of people have forgotten it. He was supposed to be in jail. They were supposed to, Butler, he was supposed to be in the ground at this point, 6 feet under. And some of you people are falling for the propaganda. I will just say this, and nobody else is going to tell you, but you're falling for the propaganda and you're looking for the source that you agree with, and you're giving yourself, turning that up to 10 or 11, and you're giving you're mainlining that right into the hose, right into your blood. You're missing it. Now, I'm not saying that there aren't foreign entities on all spectrums trying to influence. In fact, there are. But the biggest piece that you need to understand more than anything else is that the country is under a color revolution, a communist color revolution. It has been for years now. We've been under a demoralization program. And now what have they done? They've attacked the segment that they thought was the most effective in pushing Trump over the edge in 2024. And it was young people. And why are they the most vulnerable? Young people and people who aren't really engaged in politics or haven't, because they don't have the wisdom or the experience to understand what's really going on. They don't understand they've been duped. They don't understand they've been used. You know, it's much easier to dupe a person than it is to tell them they've been duped. So I have to tell you like it is, because that's my job. It pains me the most because I like these people. Not only do, like I said, do I like Trump, I like Massie, but I like people that are inside working with and for both of them. I like the people that vote. You'll listen to me right now. I like you. I don't care how you feel, where you are on this. I want to see Americans win. I want to see America win. So, I'm telling you, I watched the playbook happen. I'm watching it unfold right in front of our faces. And this split, this thing that's happening, again, you got to see. What I see. It's never been more clear to me. Thomas Massie had a chance last night, and the old Thomas Massie would have done this. The new one, I think, has gone completely off the rails, and I don't know why. But it's almost like the guy's a clone. Not to put the tinfoil hat on. But you look at his appearance, completely different than the old Thomas Massie, the new Thomas Massie with the beard and everything. It's almost like on the old TV shows, you know, they like the bad guy would have the beard and, you know, the evil twin, the evil clone. That's kind of what we're watching. Again, I like him. But I don't like what he said last night. He had an opportunity to kind of bring people together, and he didn't. This is what he said as he conceded.
I would have come out sooner, but I had to call my opponent and concede, and it took a while to find Ed Galrine in Tel Aviv.
And he goes on to talk about how he wants unity. Tel Aviv didn't vote in this election. Kentuckians did, and you lost. You lost because you went down this stupid echo chamber trail, this rabbit hole. And I don't know why. I don't know if Massie was having a hard time raising money. I don't know if, like, his principled stance going against Trump, when Trump had defied the odds, trying to get America back on track, and people said enough is enough. I don't know. But you can't make comments like that and consider yourself someone who wants to unify people. And in fact, to me, it shows me the other way around. You're actively working, not just to go against Trump, but again, to go against the country and our opportunity to not only, and again, this is America first. It's not just to defeat this communist color revolution that's going on, the globalists of people that are trying to bring the country down, but it's about Trump's this is the way to bring the country, not only America first, but back into a superpower status on the world stage that will never be tested again. All right. That's the best I can do for now. Let's try and walk some more of this through. And well, maybe I'm wrong. We'll get your assessments coming up here in just a little bit as well. James Dixon is joining us coming up, folks. Don't go anywhere. It's West Michigan Live, and it's
Midwesterner this Wednesday, May 20th. I'm Robin Hoffman. It's a Midwesterner.news original story. 6 criminal illegal aliens deported last year have been found on Jocelyn Benson's voter rolls. Record shows 6 criminal illegal aliens on the Department of Homeland Security's worst of the worst database arrested in Michigan. They have active voter registrations here despite arrests, including 2 people that have voted in multiple elections.
I graduated from college right into the recession as a car designer.
You're listening to U.S. Senate candidate Mallory McMorrow peddle her story that she was homeless while living in California and reportedly ended up living in her car for a few weeks.
So you can imagine it was really hard to get a job. I ended up homeless. I lived in the back of my car for a few weeks while I was trying to put my portfolio together and get a job.
For these stories and more, visit The Midwesterner at themidwesterner.news.
Thriving farms, pristine lawns, and weekend adventures.
all right. I don't love doing this, folks, but I got to tell you like it is. And I don't, if I risk losing my popularity or losing some of you on just telling you the truth, you got to hear it somewhere. Now, I'm not also naive to think that, that all Republicans are the answer. And of course, I'm not just talking about rhinos. But yeah, some of them are deep state. Some of them are wacky. I get it. We've always known this, right? I get it. And I wouldn't call Massie a rhino necessarily. That's not the word I would use for him. But it's hard to explain. It's a new sort of, I know people throw around this woke right. They throw around this stuff quite a bit, but it's I'm going to have to do some a little more thinking on exactly how I want to describe what I see happening. One big operation. And the funny thing is, some of you who have the tinfoil hats on the tightest are missing it. You think that you've got the goods, you've got the insight into what the operation is. It's just the wildest thing. I think they saw a big opportunity and co-opted you all as well. Now, this probably not going to be. Nancy Mace is Save Jessica because she's running for governor. And it's not about Epstein either. So I hate to, but I don't mean to be rude, but it's not. Epstein has nothing to do with this. Again, that's the operation. Thomas Massie didn't care about Epstein until just recently. Go back and look at his Twitter history. How many times did Thomas Massie tweet about Epstein? Exactly. Hang on, back on the air. I'm doing my best to contain myself this morning, and I got to say, I'm a little spicy, I'm a little fired up. James Dixon will be here, hopefully to cool me down a little bit, although I don't really have much faith in that. We'll do our best. Don't go anywhere, folks. We're getting things just fired up here. We're going to talk about, the primaries, where things are headed, the winning the media won't tell you about, and why it all matters. Coming up right after this on West Michigan Live.
Is 2026 the year you achieve your health goals? The Good Feet store wants to help. Trade in your bad feet for good feet.
All right, stand by. I got to move some stuff real quick. If you're just tuning in, you're watching the behind-the-scenes live stream. We are live on the radio here in West Michigan and beyond. And you can see the good, bad, and the ugly. Normally, this would be like the time the news is airing. And so now,
Storm Team 8's got your forecast.
See, they're doing the news, or they do commercials or things like that. And when we do that, I try to just say, hey. So let me do that. I'll say good morning to the folks who are watching over on the Behind the Stream live stream, VIPs, locals. Hey, good morning, Michigan Joe. Good to see you. Michigan Joe says, Massie wouldn't vote for anything he didn't think was perfect. You have to take baby steps to fix things same way they broke them. I tend to agree with that. It's a very good point. Purity tests are not going to save us. Democrats aren't doing them. You got to realize the way you turn the Titanic, and that's the way we've been. They've been rearranging the deck chairs on the Titanic. That's what they've wanted. Trump is a different animal. He is here for such a time as this. This guy is unlike any other president we've ever had, unlike any other president we'll ever have again. He's the perfect president for this moment. Now, I understand you're going to think that's sycophantic. I'm just going to tell you that has nothing. This is pure perspective of where I sit from a 30,000-foot viewpoint. I kind of, I can go back and forth between the weeds and up top. And I see things that I think from a perspective that most people can't get, because we're all being propagandized. But if you don't even realize that you are, and the stuff that is hitting you in your feed is propaganda, and I'm not saying stuff you disagree with. I'm talking about stuff you even agree with. I'll give you a perfect example. And then I'll say hi to everybody again. But I saw a post today. I was like, I'm going to share that. Yeah, it was about voter fraud. And actually, it was a critique on Gretchen Whitmer. And then I read it a little bit further. And the post itself, I go, this is misleading. I agree with this, but I can't share this. I'm not going to share this. It's misleading. I'm not going to do that. You have to be able to, and this is not an easy skill. I get it, but that's why I'm here to kind of walk you through it. You have to be able to know when you're being hit from even people in sides that you agree with, so that you don't further it out. I think most people don't know. They don't. It's too hard to know, and it's like impossible. So anyway, yes, Jason, that is absolutely right. Please remind everybody we're still on the same team. That's the most important part of this. We are still on the same team. If you love America and think she's worth saving for you and your kids, in fact, I'll dig into that when we come back. That's a big one. We have to get that straight. M. Balder, good to see you. R. Reagan, thank you so much. Sharon, appreciate you being here. Patriot Dean, Abel is in the house today. Boy, we got some good folks. BK, good to see you as well. Karen, did anybody catch Gritter this morning? He's the one that actually owns the tinfoil hat. I don't know. Maybe he's got it on too. Such a time as this. Good to see you. He usually posts it when he does. Jay Hordo, Duga, good to see you. Kelly over on Rumble as well. Did I say Gary? Sheila, good to see you too. Thank you, History Diggers, Tennyson, and so many others. Cindy, Bruce, Jason, Sean, Sherry, and more. Terry over on The Book. We are being surveillanced at every inch of our life, and Trump is behind all data centers, and that a good thing, really. I don't know, Shelley. I don't think that's anything new. Yes, we are being surveilled at every point, but you are being surveilled by being here right now on your phone. I'm not saying like we ought to, like just forget about everything, but like the fact that you even think that we have privacy at this point is wild to me, and that Trump is the problem. See, again, you're falling for the propaganda. The other comment I saw about arrests, dude, they indicted Comey. I mean, right now they're going after Omar. The investigations, and I think you will see some. I want to see more. I want to see them faster. But look, some of this stuff that Massie and Rokon, these guys with the Epstein thing did, actually I think hurt the chances to prosecute anybody who would have been involved in any of that. I don't think it was ever going to happen. And remember, I told you this like months ago, maybe more of a year ago. It's like, you're never going to be happy. Just realize that. No matter what happens with any of these files or anything else, you're never going to be happy. Just remember that. And what it's like, here we are. It's impossible. It's impossible to make any, because they won't believe. It's just not going to believe it when it comes out. All right, hang on. All right, here comes James Dixon down I-75, just about 30 seconds away, and we'll be fired up on all cylinders. Like I said, I gotta take a breath here. I gotta take a breath. Massie was still self-righteous. We saw the same playbook with Justin Amash. We were front row center for it all. I mean, it's great to have principles. We all should. But at the end of the day, we need America to win.
Advisory services offered through Talent Private Wealth, LLC, an SEC-registered investment advisor.
Hey, it's Glenn Beck, and you're listening to West Michigan Live with our good friend, Justin Barclay. The Glenn Beck program coming up at 10 on Wood Radio.
Again, the blood pressure, I think, is up for for me and for some folks this morning as we dig through the Trump wins last night, where the country's headed next, because this is the biggest piece. And I want to echo something somebody said in the chat. Jason said, look, we all need a reminder that we're all on the same team here. If you love America, and I don't care whether you love Massie or Trump, if you love America, we're all on the same team. Now, there are going to be people telling you we're not. There are going to be people telling you, and that's the problem, that we're not on the same team. Again, we're all on the same team. If you love America, you love this country, we want to get it back on track. Now, just so happens you may disagree with the way the president does things, handles things, says things. Well, get in line. Get in line, folks. That's not a short one, okay? There's lots of people. But at the end of the day, he's the president. I'm not saying not allowed to criticize him, but there is a way to do it. Now, just look at Boebert and Massie. Now, Massie caught the president's fire, and so did Boebert, actually going to campaign for Massie. But you see Boebert's response? It was actually pretty classy. She said, look, I like my good friend Thomas Massie, and I like my friend President Trump, and I endorse both of them. And she didn't say anything bad about Trump. There's a way to deal with this. Same with Joe Kent, the way he came out and did what he did. I mean, just the way that all transpired, I knew this one was off when we saw that go down, shake out. Matter of fact, I think he's going to be here this weekend. Now, why is Joe Kent going out on a tour, like doing events across the country? If there's not something going on weird. I'm just telling you, I think a lot of people miss some of the easiest stuff. I see it. I'm going to tell you that's my job. You don't agree with me. That's okay. We can agree to disagree. James Dixon, our good friend, down I-75 over on Twitter X. Appreciate you joining us. Talk about some of these stories and more. All right, James, I want to talk about Michigan because there's some big Michigan stories popping this week. But first, let's talk about what happened last night and also what happens with the party as we move on here and move forward. Thomas Massie particularly. But Trump had a big night last night in a lot of places.
He did. And, you add that in with Senator Cassidy losing in Louisiana.
Yeah.
Looks like Senator Cornyn could be losing in Texas next week.
Yeah.
And what you have is Donald Trump using the bully pulpit and the mass financial resources he has to shape a Republican Party that's going to do the things he wants, as opposed to obstructing it and doing nothing, which is what these Republicans were doing. And in Massie's case, the senators were just lazy. Massie made a point of grandstanding against Trump at every turn. He votes against Trump or Trump comes out against Massie. And then next thing you know, Massie's leading the charge on the Epstein files, which he had never cared about prior to that.
This is the thing that I tried to, because I'm seeing that, I'll see it brought up quite a bit. It's just, this is so important to him. Now, I understand people can get new information, but didn't he promise to put out names and stuff like that? And he never did. So, I follow the guy. I follow Thomas Massie. He follows me. I met the guy before. And it's funny because he even said, yeah, I follow you on Twitter. And I go, well, that's interesting. So, it's not like I hate the guy, but at the end of the day, I see what he's tweeted. I know what he's talked about. Never once talked about this stuff years back when Biden was in office, but all of a sudden Trump's in office and there's an opportunity to sort of, I don't know, turn the knife. It to me doesn't sit well. And I think with the president, that was part of the issue as well.
That's exactly it. Do you need really critics in your own party? It's one of those situations where with friends like Massie, do you need enemies?
Yeah.
And so, when you get some new blood in here, the problem with any sitting member of Congress is that there's a way of doing things that they are used to. And the enemy of any kind of growth or of any kind of winning is the status quo. And so everybody liked the arrangement they had before Donald Trump. And Donald Trump has upset the apple cart, and people have a chance to, to push back, to do it their own way. But, if you're going to come up against the king, you best not miss.
What do we do now? Because one of the folks in the chat, and I thought it was important, said, hey, we got to remember we're all on the same team. Can you please remind people? What do we do now? Because obviously I did make a difference last night in Kentucky. But not every race is going to be like that. 2026 is going to be very important. I'm optimistic, right? And probably naively so, some might say, about 2026. However, I know that we got to fight, and I'm willing to do that. We got to fight, and don't let up, down to the wire and beyond. And of course, it's like keep playing, until beyond the whistle kind of thing here. But like 28 is around the corner. President Trump's only going to be able to accomplish so much in this next couple of years. What we're walking through is a long-term plan here. How do we bring everyone back together? Because I believe right now we're being targeted because Trump was so effective in 24.
Yeah, what I think is happening right now is the same thing Donald Trump did when he took that escalator down and ended the Bush dynasty, and then ended the Clinton, and then ended the Obama and the Biden dynasty. I think what he did to the executive branch is what he's trying to do with Congress. Because, you get elected twice. The second time, you win the popular vote nationally, which hadn't been done in 20 years by a Republican. And then you get the House and Senate. And then the Senate in particular does nothing with the power they're given. Mm-hmm. And so what you need is a new pool of talent with a new mentality who don't view it as their job to be BFFs with their Democrat colleagues, who view it as their job to represent the voters who gave them power. There's this false idea people get when they get to Washington that the Senate majority leader is the source of my power and not the people who sent me, the people who sent him. And if Trump changes that understanding, it could have massive effects years down the road.
Yeah. So I don't think people understand if they really take into effect what happened last night. McConnell, by the way, the turtle, Mitch McConnell, spent all these years building this big machine in Kentucky, and I think it went down last night. along with some of the other shifts and changes that we're seeing take place in places like Texas with Ken Paxton. The president is disrupting some of these areas, and the shift is big. Now, again, I like I said, I think people are being targeted. A lot of the people that come in sort of late to the game here, maybe some younger folks, and these are people we need, I think, in the long term to shift the country back to where it needs to go. What are we missing about what's happening? Because there are echo chambers that are pumping, sewage into in some of these people are just like mainlining it.
Yeah, what I think we're missing is this idea of make politics local again, right? You were talking about how 26 might go. And I am also optimistic as relates to Michigan.
Yeah.
Nationwide, I'm not going to pretend to know that. And I think it's ridiculous that people pretend to know that, unless you really study this stuff day in and day out. But what I do know is my state. And in my state, we've been led by Democrats, and our state has been led into the ditch these last 8 years.
Yeah.
So when you think about who's going to show up to the polls wanting change, and change from what? It's us who's going to want change, and it's change from the way Democrats govern. I think those things augur very well for 26.
Yeah. Our good friend, James Dixon, on the phone with us right now as we continue the conversation. Let's come back to the mitten. All right. So you saw a couple of really interesting things happen this week in the state, but, you mentioned Democrat Duggan and Jocelyn Benson. Now he's running as an independent, but we all know he's a former Democrat mayor of Detroit. But you saw him and Jocelyn Benson show up at this UAW event, and he kind of revealed himself in some ways, as you say.
Oh, yeah, the mask just totally came off of Mike Duggan. What I need everyone to understand about Mike Duggan is that he is still a Democrat. And he would tell you that himself. He tweets about 4 times a month that I didn't leave the Democrat Party's values. And so independent, you hear independent as the average person and you think he believes differently than Democrats or Republicans. But that's not what Duggan thinks. What Duggan means by it is independent is an electoral strategy, because from the second he left the Democrat Party, he was the only guy who you knew on that day was going to make the November 2026 ballot. And so the more you understand that independent is a strategy to avoid a primary and not a statement of belief. I give a lot of speeches about Mike Duggan, Justin, and what I always ask people is, if Mike Duggan were still running as a Democrat, would you support him? And everybody says, of course not. And then I ask, what makes you think he's not? Self-identification?
Yeah.
Because
just
he says so?
Different letter next to his name? Yeah.
Called himself Michelle, we wouldn't think he's a woman. We have to look at track records and what people actually do, not just what they claim.
Speaking of which, the carpetbagger, Michigan Democrat Mallory McMorrow, running for Senate, on her deleted tweets, which I know you've covered extensively. She's been caught in a big trap on this, talking about it this week.
But like a lot of people, sometimes you complain online, on Facebook, on Twitter, and there were old tweets of mine that were dug up and became a CNN primetime news story where, and I am just quoting what I said, and I know that we are in a house of the Lord, so I apologize. I will censor myself. I said yesterday it was 50 degrees. Today the sky is shitting ice. And they ran that as I was critical of the weather, in as if that was something that isn't very, very Michigander.
She hates Michigan. She hates the weather here. That's why I think she prefers the climate in the swamp. That's why she's trying to get out of Michigan. She's trying to climb that ladder up into the swamp. And I don't think it's been more obvious, but her whole campaign is falling apart right in front of her very eyes, isn't that?
I did a podcast about McMorrow. It's called Mallory McMorrow is a Walking Red Flag. Her one accomplishment as a state senator is making a red flag law in Michigan that allows people to get their guns seized without being even informed that such a hearing has taken place or a complaint has been made. Just no semblance of due process that takes away your Second Amendment rights. Mallory McMorrow is not one of our neighbors in Michigan. She's a missionary from the coast here to change Michigan.
Wow.
Because she thinks we live wrong.
That's good. It really is. She's a left-wing Democrat missionary from the left coast trying to change Michigan because she thinks we're all wrong here in flyover country. Fantastic way of putting it, as always. Down I-75 over on X, the podcast as well. James Dixon. Anything you're working on we need to know about in the next coming weeks here?
Yeah, I'm doing a podcast today about the two debates. The Republicans just had one over the weekend for governor. Democrats just had one. It's a tale of two debates. Can't wait to talk about it.
There you have it. Always a pleasure, my friend. Thank you as always.
Thank you, sir.
You got it. Back with more, maybe some good news before we wrap everything up. The fastest hour in radio continues. We are flying by on West Michigan Live. I'm checking markets here in just a little bit, but before we do, boy, oh boy, I got to tell you, whether it's work or play, and it is hard work, staying up to date, on your toes with all the headlines, and on my feet at play with my little girls, they are every day wanting to get into something new, something different. And, running around, we were out of the state this week doing some fun things with the family on a trip, and I got to tell you, man, back, legs, feet would always feel it when I drove and, I had to get out and stiff and everything after a trip like that. Holy cow. The Good Feet store, I want to tell you, with a personalized arch support system, it doesn't just make your feet feel better. It makes everything feel better. You can do everything in comfort and in confidence when your back, your feet, your legs, everything are working the way they ought to. Check them out today. Go into the Good Feet store today on 28th Street, right in front of Costco, or in Portage on Westnedge in front of Kohl's at the Good Feet store.
Breaking down the story. It's West Michigan Live with Justin Barkley on News Radio Wood 1300 and 106.9 FM.
Here are your headlines from the Midwesterner this Wednesday, May 20th. I'm Robin Poffman. It's a Midwesterner.news original story. They are fighting another mega data center. Residents in Cass County, Michigan have been able to get a 30-day pause on a plan to build one there. Communities across Michigan have seen an increase in data center proposals after Democrats in the legislature passed tax incentives for their development back in 2024. In other news,
I graduated from college right into the recession as a car designer.
You're listening to U.S. Senate candidate Mallory McMorrow peddle her story that she was homeless while living in California and reportedly ended up living in her car for a few weeks.
So you can imagine it was really hard to get a job. I ended up homeless. I lived in the back of my car for a few weeks while I was trying to put my portfolio together and get a job.
For these stories and more, visit The Midwesterner at themidwesterner.news.
Do you remember when joint pain didn't?
All right, folks, rolling right along the fastest hour in radio. Hey, this is interesting. I just saw this fly by. Let's see if I can find it. The bottom line is this. Donald Trump is the general of the Republican Party. Even CNN admits it, folks. Harry Enton last night on CNN. Take a listen.
Surprised. I wasn't surprised. I wasn't surprised at all because the bottom line is this. Donald Trump is the general of the Republican Party, and the Republican primary voters are his soldiers. And if you look at Thomas Massie, you can see it very clearly. You look in 2020, 2022, 2024, he was getting 75%, upwards of 81% of the primary vote in 2020. And today, he gets less than 50% of the vote. That's the story.
That is incredible because you look at it so consistent time after time after time. And then, wow, look
Boom.
at tonight.
CNN admits it. CNN sees it. You're telling me people in our party have a problem seeing this? I don't know. I'm just... I hate to say it, but I see people being pulled around every day. And then they tell you, you're the one being pulled around because you're not going along with them.
It was the most expensive House primary in U.S. history, and the president made it a priority to get rid of Thomas Massie, and he succeeded because Massie had, frankly, become an opponent of the president inside of the party, and you just can't do that. Massie used to, reliably vote with the Republicans. That number had been falling over time. This is one of the most conservative districts in the country. It's certainly a conservative area of Kentucky. They gave Donald Trump a massive victory in 2024, and they expect the Republican congressman who represents them to be part of the team. The two big issues in the race that were in most of the advertising had to do with tax cuts and immigration. And Massie was against Trump on both of his big border security and tax cut bills. And so they said, look, we can get a Republican congressman that'll be part of the team and support the president. That campaign worked. I just want to also add one other thing. Thomas Massie tonight in his concession speech said something despicable, anti-Semitic, nasty, gutter politics right at the end. What a way to go out. He said, I would have called Ed Galrine, but I had to find Tel Aviv. There was an undercurrent of anti-Semitism in this race on the Massie side. There's been an undercurrent of it in his career, unfortunately, and it really came out in an ugly way tonight. And I think it needs to be stated, acknowledged, and condemned because it was pretty despicable.
Yeah, interesting point. Jennings also went on to say a couple of things about not messing with Trump. Let's see if this is going to give us a better clip or the same thing. This was, I thought, was kind of fast.
What's the old song? You don't tug on Superman's cape. You don't spit into the wind. You don't pull the mask off the old Lone Ranger, and you don't mess around with Trump in a Republican primary. And that's what Thomas Massie has done by becoming his chief antagonist in the U.S. House. And this became really a referendum on, is Thomas Massie on the team or not?
And let me remind you, folks, because this goes hand in hand. We have been told by the polls, by the news, by all of these different people in the mainstream media, Trump's done. America First is done. I mean, there are people on our side who have been out there voting for Trump all these other years, they say. They tell us that he's done now. And America First is over. The MAGA is done. You can't make this stuff up. If you don't realize you're falling in it, into that hole, into that propaganda, I don't know that you ever will. Hang on, folks. Got to get back on the air. Stand by. Got about 20 seconds left here.
Start listening now. Set Wood Radio is a preset now on our iHeartRadio app. Powered by Michigan Auto Law. Auto accident attorneys. Visit autolaw.com.
That's autolaw.com.
Markets up this morning. Lots of green on the screen. S&P 500 ticks higher as oil falls. Traders awaiting NVIDIA's earnings. No matter where you're on the roller coaster ride, up and down, you feel it. You don't have to feel it as much as some may. Whether you retire today, tomorrow, 10, 20 years down the road, it doesn't matter. Talent Wealth, Mike Lester and the team want to take care of you, make sure you get where you need to go and when you want to get there. GuardingYourNestEgg.com or call them 616-661-1000. That's 616-661-1000. But I would do it today. The big news, restoring America, doesn't, I mean, it's every piece, by the way. People want to say that we ought to go back into obscurity and that America's over. By the way, that's a whole Democrat talking point. That's a leftist. They don't think America was ever great. Here's another example of why people are so happy.
I don't think anybody can open up their social media and not see this story of the fountain at Malcolm X Park, otherwise known as Meridian Hill Park here in Washington, D.C., is working. It's been not functioning for nearly a decade. News 4's Catalina Perez de Arminian is live out there. And the water is flowing behind you, Catalina. I know.
By the way, this report, and I don't have time to get to it all, but she shows these people are so happy that this is in D.C. Trump getting these things going again, building the ballroom, some of these other things. You know, I just don't think people understand. We're not going to let this country fall into disrepair the way Democrats had throughout the day. So anyway, throughout the last several years. MAGA, America First, means America's back. Trump is right square in the middle of that. I got more in the after show. We're going to get to it coming up. Show after the show. Listen live or archive, the iHeartRadio app, or wherever you download your podcast. Make it a great one. God bless.
Our Father, who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done, on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread. Forgive us our trespasses. We forgive those who trespass against us. Lead us not into temptation. Deliver us from evil. God is the kingdom, power, and glory forever and ever. Amen. Amen.
WOOD Grand Rapids, WOOD FM Muskegon. The news is next on Wood Radio.
An iHeart radio station.
Guaranteed human.
Big insurance, big pharma, big utilities. As Attorney General.
All right, folks. I've got to click a couple of buttons. Then we're going to get into it. We got a Massie update today coming up at about 10:15, 10:20, somewhere in there. And we'll give you the latest. Hanta virus, Ebola, all of this mess, this nonsense is still pushing. If you haven't done it yet, click share. Sharing is caring. Help get you something cool from inside the store. Tea, a hoodie, a mug, or more inside the Justin store today. Make sure you do it. Help push us out, break the algorithm, cut through the noise. Truth, logic, and common sense. Here we go, folks. Get ready to strap in. It's going to be a heck of a ride. It's like drinking from a fire hose. Never a dull moment, but yes, you'll hear the stories you won't hear anywhere else, and we appreciate you being here with us for them today. I'm Justin Barclay. It's the after show, the show after the show. That's why we call it the after show. Never no moment, never enough time to make sure we get through it all, but we're doing our best today. We give the people what they want. You asked for it, you demanded it. So here we are. A Massie health update report coming out. Ebola, hantavirus. It's like the same drumbeat from 2020. They're trying to push a virus on us. And it's an election year. Imagine that. Out of all of the... so we'll talk about faith over fear and more coming up. But in the meantime, it is the Memorial Day mattress sale at MyPillow. MyPillow.com/JustinMyStore.com/Justin. You can sleep in comfort. You can sleep the best night's sleep of the whole wide world. There at MyPillow.com/Justin. Mike Lindell want to make it happen. 50% off, by the way. And incredible. Free shipping. What do you buy anything from MyPillow or MyStore.com/Justin? Don't forget, you help support this program each and every day. So we appreciate you now more than ever to make this thing fire on all cylinders, and you make it happen. Speaking of making us fire on all cylinders, My Pure Health Solutions, Massie makes me fire on all cylinders. I'm down 40 pounds. My wife is down 40, and the incredible results that people are getting it's just wonderful to see it. And I saw Mike the other day comment in the chat. He's down 40 pounds in 30 days or so. I mean, this is incredible. But more incredible, people are getting healthy from the inside out. They feel better. They sleep better. They got more energy throughout the day, less aches and pains. And yeah, and then the fun thing, you get to go shopping in your own closet. Like if you're like me or my wife, there's some clothes you go back. Oh yeah, that fits. It fits again. And then you go shopping for things that new things altogether. That's kind of fun. But the best part is people are getting off medications. They're finding themselves actually healthy again. That's what Make America Healthy Again is all about. So we're just so happy to see people getting the results. And that's why we thank you for your support. Whether you watch and you support these sponsors that help support the show, or maybe you help share the show. Sharing is caring. Whether you share on Facebook, Twitter, X, Humble, Getter, Locals, YouTube, you name it, you help power us, get us cut through the algorithm and share the show, the truth, logic, and common sense with other people who need to hear it most. Before the show's up here, we'll pick somebody at the end and we'll make a winner. We got hoodies, mugs. We've got T-shirts, long tees. We've even got sizes for kids inside the store. So sure, go buy one if you'd like, but you'll have a chance to win something out of the store here in a little bit. And we've got America 250 gear headed your way in the coming days ahead as well. All right, I got to go back to the fountain story because this to me is you can see it. It's the perfect visualization. You can actually see. There's this old thing, the broken window theory. Have you heard about this? When you pass by in like dilapidated areas in the hood, so to speak, you see buildings with broken windows. If you let those broken windows stay, they'll break out every other window. That's why it's important to repair these windows. That's why it's important to weed your garden. That's why it's important to maintain, steward the things you're blessed with and given. We all would probably do a better job of that. Donald Trump has this thing. It's called excellence. And it's a spirit of excellence that he is trying to revive in America right now. We've been lied to. We know for years America is never great. Forget ever being great again. So it's simple things like the reflecting pool. It's simple things like putting the ballroom together. It's simple things like what he's done to the White House and the Oval Office and restoring this fountain in Washington, D.C., which residents are thrilled about.
A lot of people are happy about it.
Joseph, yeah, because it's so hot out here today. But those who came out here tell me that they're just so happy that the fountains have reopened and are flowing, as you can see, because they say they provide a fresh space for both locals and tourists to enjoy areas like this one all over our city, especially with the warmer months ahead.
This is the most amount of people I've seen here ever. It's incredible, and it's a lot cooler, and people just enjoying, and this is amazing.
It's great. We love being in the city and having an outdoor space that's safe and clean and open like this is fantastic. It's one of the best features of DC. It's so nice.
Democrats had to shut down folks for years.
Really, really a big improvement.
These people who hate Trump here, by the way, they probably, think about it. I mean, not all of them, but, if they live in D.C., chances are they love this, though.
Over not having the fountains on. Obviously, it's drawing a lot of people to the park.
The U.S. Department of Interior says the renovation work here at Meridian Hill Park.
It's not this wild extremist view to think, things ought to be nice. Like right now, they're out there calling Spencer Pratt a mega extremist. The guy just wants to live in L.A. where his family lives. He just wants to be able to enjoy it. He just wants to live there without his house, burning down or anything like that. That's all he wants. I mean, incredible to me to see what the kind of garbage they're putting him through right now. That's all he wants. He just wants to be safe. He just wants his family to be safe. At the end of the day, these are not extremist ideas. In fact, President Trump making that same point when it comes to some of these scenarios as well. They just, I don't know. You want to call this a ridiculous idea, a radical idea? They just want the family to be able to enjoy their trips to D.C. They just want the residents of D.C. to be able to enjoy where they are. Look, I'm telling you, folks, it's incredible. And what we're seeing play out, this whole idea of draining the swamp, this is a perfect visualization of what he's trying to do. It really doesn't get any more obvious than this. I'll just put it that way. It doesn't get any more obvious than this. And it's not just this. It's every single thing he does. And by the way, there's this old saying, and I think it's one that, proves really it's proven out when you see the things that are happening. But as you do anything, you do everything. The way you do anything is the way you do everything. If you cut corners, if you cheat, give you a good example. If you're in business and you do business with somebody else that cheated on their spouse, it's a good example and probably a really good indication of what they might do with you in business as you move forward. A lot of people that are in business, one of the tests they'll do is they'll go play golf together and they see somebody, they cheated on their golf game or they wrote the wrong number down or they did whatever. Well, be careful. Be careful. That person might not be so honest in business either. As you do anything, you do everything. And so that's why we're seeing all this stuff come together. And I think why when I see simple things like this fountain, this is about restoring America to her greatness. This is America 250. And you have to remember, the people that are getting caught up in the purity test and everything else now, you're missing the big point, the big picture. The Democrats, the left, the globalists wanted America done. And it was on the managed decline. In fact, it was on the fast track to get there. The first Trump administration had put them behind schedule, so they had to try and speed everything up. And along came COVID. And you see, God only knows where we'd be right now under Kamala Harris if she was doing it. And remember, Biden was supposed to last 8 years, folks. But the memory and everything got so bad. I'll tell you this. He probably won the last 8 years, but he was supposed to get elected a second term, and then Kamala was probably going to take over at some point. And then they'd probably push her to get her elected. That was the plan. But by the grace of God, it all kind of fell apart, didn't it?
Part of the president's efforts to keep DC safe and beautiful ahead of America 250 celebrations, and the project is part of the $10 million budget assigned to the National Park Service. And we're expecting to continue to see renovations out here with certain grass areas closed in the park's upper lawn. And although they may remain closed into the summer, those that were out here today tell us they're just glad to see that investment, those funds being put into improving areas like this one for everybody to enjoy. So it is definitely hot out here today, but we've seen a lot of people come here and also tell us this is the busiest time that they have seen this park. So this is just wonderful to see everyone enjoying.
But it's good news. It's good news. Boy, you're absolutely right about that. Look at England, Terry says. Look at all the countries Trump is changing. People are being set free. Look at some of the destruction done in places like Europe. They have had same sort of, and even worse, invasion. And they've been fighting it. Boy, I tell you, they have been fighting it. And I'm telling you, what we saw this last week or so, Glenn spoke there, some of those people, the massive crowds, there's big changes coming. And thankfully, because folks there in England, in Europe, are waking up, and they're waking up because of America. America's leading the way. Speaking of waking up, I thought this was incredible. I thought this was fantastic. And by the way, yes, we got a health update, Maha Missy, coming up in just a moment, too. But in Chicago, a black woman stands up mocking Democrats, and there might be some language here, I'm just going to let you know. But a black woman in Chicago says, listen, I've had enough. You Democrats, you've been lying the whole time, and we are done.
The reality is this. Black people's voting is not in danger, and you know it's not. And you know it's not. I'm 63 years old. I've been voting since I was 18. I have never had a problem voting. Now, that may apply to my mother and father. It applies to my grandparents. Surely it does. And in fact, because it does, every single person in this room, including that Jewish lady that just got up and talked, need to really be thanking us. Really need to be thanking us for getting y'all the right to vote. For getting y'all the right to be here, instead of sitting up here manipulating the Voting Rights Act like something's getting ready to happen to our right to vote, when you know that's not true. So now you all gonna drag black people in here, definitely some senior citizens, and gonna have them come up here and talk about how they scared to vote, how it's messed up their right to vote, women need to vote, all that junk, when you know it's not true. Just like you sit up here and make like black people can't get IDs. Us requiring IDs to vote. It's going to stop black people from voting. Why black people ain't got IDs? See, you all get more and more ridiculous. But you can't, in this room full of these black people, talk about that federal case that just got filed Monday that's talking about how you all are stealing property at Cook County sales. Where the black people in here? Raise your hand that if they told you to come in here to talk about how your property got stolen. Where you at? Huh? Because we got commissioners in here that know for a fact it's happening. Catskill, you know it's happening. Lori, you know it's happening. Michael Scott, you know it's happening. Lamont Williams, come on, you give up cases for the county. You know it's happening. Donna Miller, you know what's happening. Well, come on, y'all black people that they done sent here with these 501c3s, that they got y'all in here talking for them. Why y'all ain't in here talking about how they stealing our property?
1 minute.
Where y'all at? Come on, because y'all getting ready to come up here to this mic and lie for the cameras to say that black people's voting is done by this Louisiana thing and Donald Trump and the Trump administration, when Donald Trump is in front of the Supreme Court right now fighting for the 14th Amendment, saying that black people, that amendment was for black people.
30 seconds.
Not for birthrights, not for people to anchor themselves over here illegally. And they got y'all black people in here getting ready to talk against him. I mean, y'all real sick up in the head. You're sick in the head and more sicker in your spirit. This is insane.
Time has expired for the speaker. Next
y'all
speaker,
crazy.
Taiwan Sim.
Y'all crazy indeed. She's absolutely right. You know, the people are waking up all across the country, but particularly in Chicago because of the blue city that it is. What Democrats and the left have done to these people for years, and they've had enough. And finally, they're standing up and they're fighting back, and I'm glad to see it. God bless her. All right, let's talk the Maha health update. Our good friend Maha Massie is with us right now, and the latest on the stories that need a little attention anyway. Good morning, Maha Massie. We've been hearing so much about the Hana virus and Ebola and all of this stuff in the last week or so, and to me, it's like, here we go again. It's another example of all of this nonsense in an election year of all times. But I look at this and I thought to myself, well, what's the best way to cut through? First of all, I want to cut through the fear. Let's get to the facts. And also, if we can, maybe talk about how to make sure, because we had COVID and that cold, the virus that was an issue for a lot of people. It was an issue for them because they had immune systems that were depleted. They weren't healthy. And a lot of that's due to the things that make us all not healthy these days. So how do we get it back on track? Men, let's get some solutions.
Wow. Where do we start? Yeah, I think what we're seeing here is when you say like the last segment where you're just watching is people are waking up. I mean, and when you wake up and you like look around, you can start seeing the playbook. They've been using the same playbook for years and years and years, but we've caught them. We're catching on, and we don't have to live in fear. That is what they want. They want us to be fear. When we live in fear, it impacts every decision that we make. Are we going to go to the grocery store today? Are we going to go out to dinner? Are we going to go outside? Are we going to go visit grandma? I mean, fear impacts everything, and that's what they want. They want us suppressed. And listen, I think over the last several months or possibly the last few years, those that are waking up, you're starting to look at things a little bit differently. And one of the things, if you haven't, we can start doing it now too. We got to build this immune system up. Hey, rumor has it, God put this amazing pharmacy and doctor's office, a doctor inside of our body. Our body knows exactly how to heal and repair itself so well, but we just have to know what kind of inputs are going into it, so that way we see better outputs. And it's just simple things like moving, just getting up and walking. Most of us have like work from home these days, and we're not walking. I hear this all the time, and it's like, okay, just do something about it. And I'm talking to myself too. After I'm done, get out and just walk for 15 minutes. I mean, you don't think that's a big deal, but this pharmacy and doctor's office on the inside of it said a memo. It is. It's a 15 minutes a day. Just move. And then I guess the other thing that I would go on to is our food. I mean, we've noticed, and we talk about food on here a lot, but simply do your best to not buy processed foods. That is processed lunch meats, processed crackers. Kind of thinking back, as I was preparing for today's show, the word convenience. We're a land of convenience. America is a people of convenience, and I think convenience has been killing us slowly throughout the years. Because it was very convenient for me to run through McDonald's to grab my little kids, Happy Meals. That was convenient. A little did I know back then that my convenience was going to cost them something in their health. Yeah. I mean, do we even look at food the same way these days? Because when I look at that, all I see is gut inflammation, allergies, migraines, hormone disruptors, immune system disruptors, and detoxive pathways disruptors. That's just how I look at it. Do I still enjoy some of those things every once in a while? Sure. But at the same time, I'm going to try to do 80% right. Like that 80-20 rule. So that way you don't feel like, look at all that. That's convenience. That's convenience in a can, convenience in a box, convenience in a jar, in a spray bottle, whatever you want to call it. And, a long time ago, I have to believe that some of those convenient products didn't have the synthetic things inside of it like they do today. They shipped out those ingredients on us in the middle of the night and never give us a warning that they switched it out from being used to being like a real true tomato to a processed tomato or a tomato with no seeds. I think a wise lady told me years ago, don't ever buy fruit that doesn't have seeds in it. And I looked at her, I'm like, why? And she's like, because it's man-made. God made food to have seeds in it simple things like that. So that's just where my mind is these days. And having some other tricks for people. One of the things, again, preparing for the show, I was like, how do we get people, like, because fear is everywhere, and that fear raises the cortisol levels. So something that I literally started doing, because like all y'all, my head's on a swivel these days. I cannot keep up with all the news that's coming in. It's like, oh my gosh. And so what I started doing over the last 2 weeks, and it's literally, I've seen a difference. I stopped looking at social media the last 2 hours before I go to sleep. I've gone back to watching a funny show on TV that makes me laugh. Yeah, boy, is that hard. That's a hard habit to break, because when we're so in the trenches and you're just like, you're constantly like wanting to, keep on track of everything. You feel, what am I going to do with any of that information before I go to sleep at night? What am I really going to be able to do with it? Nothing. A lot of times I send it over. I'm like, ooh, Justin needs to see this one. And I put it in my Justin bucket. I don't send it to you, but I put it in my Justin bucket. Like, ooh, we know how to talk about that. But I'm like, stop, Missy. I'm like, breathe and relax. The other night, I went to go watch TV because this is my new routine. And I opened up my window and I could hear nature outside. And I'm like, oh, the TV show is really good though. I'm like, you know what? I'm just going to relax and I'm going to listen to the outside. And I fell asleep on my side. I didn't even turn the TV on. I'm like, wow, this kind of feels good. But here's another one that I thought of. You remember, like, when people used to say, snap out of it, just snap out of it. Well, there was a while for years ago, I saw people wearing rubber bands on their wrists, and it was some smart people I hung out with. I'm like, why you guys wear rubber bands? They're like, to snap out of it. I'm like, snap out of what? And they're like, when you have a bad thought and your mind starts to race, either like catch it, snap it, and ding, that snap hurts, and it does. It snaps you out of it, and it like pulls you out of the moment. And so I've kind of been doing that too. There's some cortisol stuff. Yeah, it weakens your immune system, and when the immune system goes down, everything starts to go down with it. This is cortisol, folks. And so how cortisol is ramped up like crazy in all of us because of what I do for a living. I see the cortisol systems are just lit up like a Christmas tree inside people's bodies. And we can bring this down naturally, snapping out of it. And when you snap out of it, this is what I want you to do. Snap something. I don't care if you snap your fingers or poke yourself. I don't care. Snap something. And then I want you to think of 5 things that you're thankful for. And I don't care if you just got fired from your job. You still have 5 things to be thankful for, because you still have 2 legs. Hopefully we also have 2 eyes. And I'm thankful for, I've got kids. I'm thankful that, wow, I just heard that bird outside. And what happens, it just starts to get you off of this heightened state of panic and fear. And so we got to do what you got to do. This sounds so basic and simple, but I'm telling you, I'm noticing it in myself. because I'm probably could perhaps be one of the most stressed out people you could ever meet. Because it is what it is. You got to be true with yourself here. And so, don't be in fear. Because we've got this body, this pharmacy, the doctor that's inside this body is ready to show up for you, but you got to put some good inputs into it. Good food, drink some water, stop eating processed foods. Maybe not all at once, but the next time you go to the grocery store, choose something different. Choose what would go back to what would my Ma and Pa Ingalls say in Little House on the Prairie if they were with me in the grocery store,
Yeah.
Simple.
It's interesting, and these things have such a big impact, but I love what you're doing for people right now because you're kind of walking them through what they can see the differences right in their bodies. And I'm telling you, I love it because when you work with people on a daily basis, you see that. By the way, My Pure Health Solutions, Missy has helped me lose over 40 pounds. My wife and so many others. Mike just told us in the chat the other day, I'm down 40 pounds in 30 days, he said.
Heck yeah, burner.
We are constantly getting these awesome these testimonials, the stories about how well people are doing.
Oh, yeah.
So it's incredible, but it starts literally, as Missy has said, from the inside out. There's an inside job happening inside, and I got to tell you, I'm so thrilled to hear it. But these things that you're talking about, it's no surprise people are getting healthier. It's no surprise. When you're able to fight, like, let's be honest, some of the ways that we look at these crazy viruses that we're being bombarded with, or the just everyday life, it's because your body is finally working the way it's supposed to.
Right. This is a thing that people have never thought of. I mean, and either did I. I went out to chiropractic school 27 years ago. I'm not a chiropractor, but my husband was becoming a chiropractor, so I got to learn right along with him. And as the years grew and it went on, and we helped these clients, the patients of ours, you started with the central nervous system. I mean, the original chiropractors, the first chiropractors that ever started being a chiropractor, I guess the first ones, the OGs, they spent majority of their life in jail because the medical model did not want their message going out to the public. And their message was the body can heal from within. You take the pressure off the nervous system and you allow that nervous system to function and flow, because most people don't think about this, but how does your heart know what to do? How do your lungs know when to contract and to expand? How does your digestive system know what to do? How, and what controls every single organ in that body of yours? It starts with that brain, and that's the computer. The brain sends the electrical message all the way down the central nervous system, and God put a spine. The spine is the house that protects those nerves, like the wires. If you want to call them wires. Nerves, they're nerves. And then, so along the lines, as we would adjust the spine, people started getting off of their blood pressure medications. Why? Because there was pressure going on the nerve that fed the heart. And there's pressure on the nerve that would go onto the lung. And so we would have a drug trash can in our office. And anytime people didn't need their medications anymore, per doctors, they dumped them in the drug trash can. There were always dozens and dozens of little kids' asthma inhalers in that, because you took the pressure off the nerve that was feeding the lungs, and now the lungs can breathe and expand. The same thing goes on inside the body. Cellular network. Your body, this is what I do for a living. I get the privilege to show people, after we do a body scan. I mean, that kind of sounds crazy, but not. You go get x-rays, you go get a MRI and a CT scan, right? That's scanning your body. Well, I get to scan the body too, and just do it in a little different way. And when we scan the body, I'm able to show the clients which systems inside their body have kind of gone offline, and how they can be rebooted thanks to suppressed technology that was discovered 100 years ago. Suppressed. I get to call it breakthrough technology. I feel like I'm lying when I say breakthrough technology, because it was breakthrough 100 years ago. So to me, this is kind of old news, but to everybody, this is new news. This is suppressed information.
It's broken through the suppression,
Yeah. I mean, you want to know the people that went out on a limb to the message that I speak today. People lost their lives. I mean, we've seen this. I mean, when people that got out there and said, don't go get the shot and take ivermectin, like, oh, you just lost your doctor's license. You just got kicked out of network for telling people to take a natural product. So again, the systems inside the body, start to wear down over time. Just like you go get your car gets a tune up, your cell phone gets to be rebooted, and your TV gets rebooted. Your body can be rebooted at the same time. We get to bring it all online and watch everything start to heal and repair. The outcome is you start to heal and repair from within. You lose weight on the outside. You get off medication. I'm like, all natural. Go fancy that. All natural. God's design. We just have to tap into how did he design the body and learn how to work with it.
Making America healthy again starts with you. It's an inside job. And folks, right now, you can take 25% off. The America is turning 250 sale. They're having the big 250 sale at My Pure Health Solutions, celebrating with 25% off. Fast results, 20 to 40 days. Women lose 2 to 3 pant sizes in just 40 days. Often drop 35, 45 pounds. That's me. We did it. 40 days is all it takes.
Yeah.
There's something biblical about that too, which I think is kind of interesting.
I love it. And again, it's you eating real food. This is nothing crazy. You eat proteins, vegetables, and fruit, all natural. And this is what causes the transformation to take place with every single client. It's you take customized formulas designed specifically for your body to turn on the metabolism, turn those systems back on that have been turned off. Your scan tells me what system's been turned off, and we show it to you. We don't hide anything. Everything's up front. And then this is something that's key, is that your body, everybody's doing detox these days. Everyone's detox, get rid of the parasites. I'm all about that. But there's a whole nother layer of people that don't even know is possible. We're able to scan the body through bacteria, viruses, heavy metals, mold, water contaminations, food and chemical dyes, leftover remnants of vaccines from 50 years ago. If there is an outlier inside your body that we call a toxin, the scan's going to let us know exactly what it is, and we're going to turn it off. We can turn it off because the body's amazing. And if people go like, how is that possible? Call me. Just call me. Free consultation. This is not a consultation where I'm asking you to lay down some money to reserve your appointment. I'm not that kind of person. I hope people get that from being on here. And I love your listeners, by the way. I have so much fun with them because it's just great. I think this platform has allowed me to talk a little bit more than the other ones I'm on. But with this one, I mean, and we just talk real talk. I mean, you've got a good group of people that follow you. And I did thanks to you. I mean, you got a lady out there in Washington, her Washington friend just called me the other day. I'm like, oh, who can I thank for? That's a Justin person. I'm like, good on you, Justin, making your way out there to Washington. Like,
it's fantastic. We got people all over, and they are. This Freedom Fam is the best. So just
so good,
incredible folks. But again, folks, reach out to Missy today because you need to ask her. 269-964-4044 and healthwithjustin.com is the website. Ask her these questions because you could be one of these before and afters. And we have so many people with the result stories that are coming in, and I'm just so excited to see how.
Yeah. You see that one guy right there. I put him up there on purpose. That guy's name, his name is Leonard, the guy holding the sign. Yeah, that Leonard. He was so. He was from I love Leonard, but Leonard was blown away, and he is not a one-off story. When you've been on type 2 diabetic medication for several years, hey, newsflash, it's not working for you because you're still on it. People get off their type 2 medication in a blink of an eye. People get off of high blood pressure medication. People get off of cholesterol, acid reflux. You don't want that sleep apnea machine anymore? Yeah, I don't blame you. Call me. Almost every single person, like, I don't know, I'm going to go on a limb, say 80%, 90% of people that go through my natural program don't ever have to use their sleep apnea machine anymore. I mean, because that pharmacy inside your body, it starts to work for you and you don't need it anymore.
Yeah. This is the incredible thing. People are getting results each and every day. You gotta find out how you can get all these results. It's simple. It just starts with one simple phone call. But every story after story that we have, when we go through some of these big issues that we're dealing with, could probably be solved. We're looking at just getting healthy,
right?
And from the inside out is probably the best way to do it. Okay, I've got so much in the last couple of weeks.
Sure.
And one story that I thought was kind of interesting because it kind of does touch a little bit on what you're doing. Although I think what we've been doing together is a lot easier than probably this new thing. But it is, I think it's fantastic because it shows people getting into something that actually, we do need to spend a little more time and attention to is what we're eating. So there's a lot of fad diets out there.
Oh, yeah.
This I wouldn't call a fad necessarily, although the people getting tuned on to it is probably maybe a little bit of a fad, but like eating healthy, no, they're eating biblically. The New York Times says this new thing. It's about eating biblical. Well, guess what they had in biblical times? It was all real food.
Sure.
So essentially, and there's more to this that, but Mediterranean kind of diet type, that's the kind of thing they're talking about. Some of these things, I don't know that I would call them, biblical, like chicken sausage. That's probably, I see it on a plate right here. I don't know that's biblical necessarily, but we're talking about real
That's the key. Real food. Do I see anything called convenience on that plate? It looks like somebody had to grow it, someone had to pick it, and it's probably going to spoil within a matter of a few days in the refrigerator. That's probably called real food. Our real food is people. Oh yeah, biblically, yeah. I mean, I don't have a problem when things have been processed naturally. That's the key. Processed naturally and has not been any junk or chemical has been added to it to keep it have a longer shelf life. That's where we're getting in trouble with. We're getting in trouble with the things that they're putting inside the packaging that gives it a longer shelf life. Because again, if you think of the body if we think of the body like a car just for a minute, you will never put diesel fuel in a car that needs regular fuel because you will automatically within seconds see the devastation that happens. Our body is so resilient that we can keep putting plastic in it and chemicals and toxins and heavy metals. We can do all this stuff to this body and it keeps going. And so therefore we have this like false win that must not be that bad until 30 years later that, the body starts to like show symptoms. But yeah, I'm all about the biblical eating thing. I think it's great. I mean, I wouldn't mind moving to the Mediterranean area to eat like that, but I'm over here in America and I think we've got potatoes, and some, we've got really good food over here, but we just a land of convenience. We're not eating the way that we used to.
Yeah. It is interesting, but you're seeing, I think, as people talk about these things, they're kind of lighting up. They're realizing that, there are alternatives, and they're thinking about what's wrong with how they're eating and how things are going. In fact, more good news. RFK Jr., Secretary of Department of Health and Human Services, he is out there talking about how they're going to finally, for the first time, really crack down on some of the chemicals in our food. Goes right along with what we've been talking about today.
Yeah.
Hi, I'm Robert F. Kennedy Jr., your HHS Secretary. Today, we're taking action to strengthen the safety of the American food supply. Families deserve safe food. At HHS, we set that standard and we enforce it. The FDA will, for the first time, continuously review chemicals already in our food, replacing a decades-old system with continuous oversight for the first time. We will evaluate the science on an ongoing basis. We'll identify the risks earlier and will act when necessary to protect the public health. We'll make our findings public. The American people have a right to see the data and understand the decisions and hold us accountable. We are also reevaluating two widely used food chemicals, BHT and ADA. BHT preserves fats and oils and appears in cereals, frozen foods, and packaged snacks. ADA is used in flour processing and appears in bread products and food contact materials. These substances are widely used, but that does not establish safety. We are taking a fresh look at that question, requesting data from researchers, industry, and the public through a formal request for information posting. If you have evidence on how these chemicals are used or how they affect human health, submit it through the Federal Register at regulations.gov.
It is another big step, and I think it just proves that the MAHA movement is alive and well, and big things are happening. More good news.
It's great news. I think last time I was on, I was so excited because he's going to incentivize doctors to de-prescribe medication. First time ever in history, too. I mean, this is huge. I mean, I've been on this. I'm like, I want to submit something to him. I'm like, I've been on this like war path for so long. And finally, people we have a chance. I mean, I'm looking at my granddaughter and my soon to be another grandchild. They have a fighting chance of not dying at an early age of cancer because of what RFK Jr. is doing. I mean, the food, the chemical messengers, these chemicals go in the body and they just you don't digest through them. You don't pee or number two them out. They stay and they leach onto they are disrupting hormones. They're disrupting the gut, the detox pathways, and immune system pathways. I mean, what he's doing is so good, and I am so thankful for him. I mean, I do. I thank God for him every single day because he's saving America in such a brilliant way. And it's sad that we've had to get to this point for the first time ever. We're really going to be looking into these chemicals. Yeah. I'm like, seriously? Really? I mean, but it is what it is. And here we are.
It had to take enough people to awake to the fact that these are the things that are happening. And thank God, finally, Maha is taking over, making an impact. America's turning 250. Maha's on track. We want to get you on track too. America 250, a 25% off sale in recognition, in honor of the birthday, and of course to make America healthy again. We want you right alongside us. Just for my listeners only, healthwithjustin.com. Go to healthwithjustin.com to book a free consultation. Talk to Missy and find out how you can drop some weight like I did. Like my wife is, we're over 40 pounds down now. Women off to lose 2 to 3 pant sizes. Men dropping 35 to 45 pounds in just 40 days. But bottom line, you're going to restore your metabolism, reset your body, and reduce those medications. Lots of clients are doing that already with doctor guidance and moving towards real health.
Absolutely.
It's about making America healthy again, and it starts with you. I want to see you on this wall of great testimonies. I'd love to see you have that story, and of course, feel like you can live life again with all the energy, sleep great at night, all the great things that you experience so far.
Yeah. Health impacts your entire life. I mean, you're either going to spend money keeping yourself healthy health plays a role in every single category of your life. Your family.
I shared my story the other day. Somebody said, and I thought this was great, said health is wealth. I go, boy, you're not kidding about that, because there's no money in the world that can pay to make you, really to put you back where you need to be, and so you can feel better. You have to do those things. It takes a little bit of effort, but it is so worth it. And we are so thrilled. As always, Missy, we just love and appreciate you so much. Thank you for everything you do in the fight.
Thank you for having me. I love it. I love you guys, and God bless America.
Yeah, thank you for taking such good care of the folks in the Freedom Fam, our listeners. Man, we got some great folks out there, and I know they love you too. They can't stop singing your praises. And maybe we'll share some more of those stories next time.
I can't wait.
Absolutely. Have a great one. God bless. Folks, that's it. healthwithjustin.com. Log on today or call 269-964-4044. That's 269-964-4044. And take your life back. Feel great again. Be healthy again. God bless.